welcome everyone to the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. And joining me today, in a completely different capacity than last time, is my friend Tatjana. Tatjana, thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me again. It's good to be back.
So, I reached out to you a couple of weeks ago because I thought that this would be a good topic to talk about. Every now and then on social media, I see comments and questions about new Americans and immigrants and things of that nature. And I thought, you know what? I'm not the expert on this one, and I know you have much more expertise in a lot of ways, so I figured that we're going to go ahead and add you to this. So,
awesome. Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit, first of all, for you specifically, tell us about how you and your family came to the United States.
Okay, so I have been, well, it feels like I've been here forever because my family and I did come here back in 1988. We were not refugees. We came with an immigrant visa, which meant that, we had the green card upon arrival. Mm-hmm. We did go through an application process with the immigration office. We had to go through interviews at the embassy, the American embassy back home, which used to be Yugoslavia back in the days. Yugoslavia no longer exists, unfortunately. And then we had to go through a series of medical assessments. And then once that was cleared, then we waited a little while longer till the visa was approved, and then we came and we joined my mom's family here. My my brother and her parents were here, so we joined family.
And everything was easy right after you got here, right?
Oh,
I'm
goodness.
Just kidding.
We spoke no English whatsoever. My mom and dad both had professional jobs, which they could not have, when we came because of the language barrier. My brother and I were still in school. I was a sophomore in high school. My brother was in 7th grade. I didn't speak English, and this is the era when we did not have the iPhone, cell phones, so there was no Google Translate. My best friend was my paper dictionary, which I used all the time, which was my best friend for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. For a very long time, and I laugh about it right now, but for a very long time I told my parents that they ruined my life because I really didn't want to.
As any good high school student should.
Yes. Later on I did obviously realize that my mom and dad did the right thing. This is something that they really didn't want to, but they had to because of the direction Yugoslavia was going that way. Soon after we came, the war broke out. So we did not have to go through that trauma through the war.
Just American high school was your trauma?
Yes. This is more of a negative story I like to share, but this is something that I am aware that a lot of people are actually going through in terms of not being accepted within community. I did have, unfortunately, an English teacher in high school who told me in my face that she had wished that I had gone back to where I came from because I was not performing well in her English class while we were reading Romeo and Juliet. Not that I can understand Romeo and Juliet in English now, but it was back then when I didn't speak English, and it was hard. It was difficult. Other difficulties came along too. And back in the 80s, we were not aware of any agencies or resources that could help us. We heavily relied on family and friends, relatives, who obviously were also very busy working and doing their everyday life. So we had to wait when they were available to help us.
Well, it was a perfect segue. So while they didn't have organizations then, now you are actually part of an organization that helps with resettlement. So tell us a little bit about what ETSS is and your role with it.
Yeah, so I think it was back in high school when I did decide that I was going to spend the rest of my life helping immigrants and refugees because I have walked in their shoes and I know exactly what they're going through. For about 16 years, I did work with the ESL department with the Columbus City Schools, and then I found the nonprofit world and ETSS, and this is something that is very, very close to my heart. I enjoy working because our vision is to make sure that refugees and immigrants are welcome, and then they receive all the support services to enable them to have healthy and self-reliant life here, to contribute to our American society. ETSS has been around for about 25 years. Actually, the CEO and founder of ETSS, Dr. Saleshi Ospa, is a resident of Reynoldsburg.
I'm sure he's watching.
He's your neighbor, I think,
Yep,
somewhere.
I know he's probably watching right now.
I am pretty sure he is, yes. So he is a refugee himself from Ethiopia, and when he came here, he saw the need, so he opened the doors to first his Ethiopian community, but soon after figured out that there were people from all walks of life, from everywhere, and they all needed help. So since then, we have been helping people from everywhere, from all over the world. Just last year, I've brought some numbers here. Over 12,000 clients were served in 18 different sites or locations. Even though we do have one headquarters, we do have different sites throughout Franklin County, strategically placed where our New American communities are. So we do have clients. So last year there were clients that we served that spoke 57 different languages. About 1,300 students were served only in the youth departments. ETSS has different departments serving youth in after-school programs, summer youth enrichment programs, healthy transition and reach higher programs, which serves students from 14 to 18-year-olds, kind of preparing them for the adult life. We also have family, school, and community engagement program, and the AMP program, which stands for Achieve More and Prosper. We also have the adult programs. We do have 3 sites on the west side, north side, and here on the east side, right off of McNaughton. Under this umbrella, we have different programs for the adults. Triple E is one of them, Education, Employment, and Empowerment. Also Engagement Works, which works with employers where refugees are employed. So then we prepare and we help the employers how to work with the new Americans and to bridge all these gaps that need to be met. We also have microbusiness training and technical assistance program, community health and wellness, family care that works with individuals that may have been survivors of domestic violence, human trafficking, coming to the United States, and also Ohio CAN, which is a Kinship and Adoptive Navigators program, which is a statewide program. And then the resettlement, which I'm the director of. We have been around since 2021. We started helping the refugees when Taliban took over in Afghanistan, and we had lots of Afghans coming and who were in danger, who had to flee because they helped our government. They worked with our American troops. Therefore, if they had stayed back then, they would have been targeted, and also their families. But since then, we have also welcomed refugees from many countries around the world, including Afghanistan, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Ukraine, Haiti, Somalia, Burma, and so on.
Some of the nicest places in the world right
absolutely,
now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I always say as a nonprofit employee, I'm not rich, we are not making money, but we are so rich, so wealthy, learning about so many cultures and ways of life, and to have friends from all over. It's just, I don't know, priceless in my in my opinion.
All right, so walk us through the process of your typical case. So that I remember one time we were going to talk and meet or something, but then you literally got notified that family from Afghanistan were coming, and you couldn't do whatever it was that you had planned on, and you were doing that because you had to go to the airport. So take us up to the point, like, what are you doing in preparation for someone coming to the United States, and then what do you do once they get off the proverbial plane? Kind of walk us through that.
Yes. So there are only several maybe countries where, just like the Ukraine and Afghanistan, that were able to kind of come right upon when the war broke over there. But the actual process for refugees can be very, very long. We get refugees that we pick up from the airport that had waited to come here and be reunited with families after 13 and 15 years. So it could be a very, very long process. Very rigorous, I have to say. Rigorous security vetting. Our families are vetted and vetted and vetted and vetted. They go through interviews, they go through medical exams, and then after the applicants are approved for the admission to the United States, there is a process of assigning, to which resettlement agency is going to receive a specific family. Then our agency has to go through the process of assuring the cases. We want to make sure that we have the appropriate services. We have connected with the U.S. ties with the families here. We have planned for them, and then the travel is arranged.
Okay. Hey, so there's always these misconceptions that we see out there. Some of the ones that I've seen are all immigrants get, in essence, like the golden welcome. They get thousands upon thousands of dollars. They get their own automobiles. They get housing. They get all of this stuff for free. And the response is usually, why can't I get that? Usually that's where it's from. It's more like, why can't I? But I know that isn't really the case. So what are some of the most of the misconceptions that you hear on a regular basis about what people think about what status immigrants have once they get to the United States versus what's actually happening?
Yes, so there is absolutely a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding. We do work with government funds. This is something that is approved every year by the government, and once we receive a family at the airport, we have 90 days to get them to self-sufficiency. If you can even comprehend the concept of becoming self-sufficient in 90 days. I personally think if I moved to Cincinnati right now, it would probably take me more than 90 days to feel like I'm self-sufficient. But okay, somebody decided that 90 days is enough for someone who doesn't speak English, who's never worked in their lives, never did XYZ, to come here to America and become self-sufficient. But this is where my team and I come. This is where the resettlement agencies come. We do have a very, very busy schedule, course services plan that takes place during the 90 days, and a very, very small budget, if I may say.
They don't call you a nonprofit for nothing.
Yes, yes. This is why nonprofits always go around and we ask for donations, we ask for support, because the government does not really give us enough money. So, for an example, if you were to go someplace and this is where you're going to live, but you do not have permanent housing, you have to go to a hotel, and it takes several weeks to find permanent housing, where you have to apply and all that. By the way, you have to be required and show employment and credit scores and all that good stuff, which our clients don't have. Couple of weeks will eat up the funds that we get from the government to help. So we will pay the hotel, and then the rest is other budgets and other donations and things like that. So very, very, very small portion is given to us to help our clients.
So do you have what are some other things other than just the housing piece? Because I figured that was going to be, especially in a climate where like Central Ohio, where housing in general is hard to find, let alone housing that would be to fulfill some of the requirements that you were just mentioning.
Housing is also probably number one challenge for us because they are required. Most of the landlords do require employment, employment history, credit history. It may also be a challenge for some of our larger families because we do have to follow that 2 per bedroom rule. There are some exceptions where the rule is 2 plus 1 if there's a baby, but then we do have larger families here that come that may be 6, 7, 8. You know, my largest family was actually a family of 11 that I resettled a couple of years ago. Employment is also very challenging because of language barriers, because lack of experience, and we also have many refugees who come who may have had professional positions, professional jobs back home, and now they have to go back to basics and maybe just get that entry level job just in order to be able to feed their families. And that's hard to swallow for some. You know, I have had ambassadors, I have had doctors, engineers who started at Amazon and Walmart, but many success stories afterwards. Obviously, you know, they have worked their way through.
No, I appreciate that. You know, it's obviously, this is a passion. This is not something you do because, you know, it's not just your typical job. This is something that you definitely feel like you want to do. Is there anything, you know, you mentioned donations, so obviously I'll give you your opportunity to plug if anybody wants to help out in that regard. But is there anything else that we can do in general, or anything else that you feel that you could share that would be beneficial to everybody watching?
Absolutely. We are always looking for volunteers. We can never have enough volunteers. Anywhere from coming with us to the airport to pick up the family, to provide transportation to doctor's appointments, to maybe sort donations. Donations are always welcome. Our clients come with maybe a suitcase or 2 per person. So I don't know about anybody else, but I could not have packed my life in 1 or 2 suitcases. So anywhere from seasonal clothing to household items. When they move to apartments, they have zero. They have nothing. We do provide, you know, we do need to provide the furniture and all the household items and things like that. So anything that is gently used, we always welcome. Obviously, gift cards are always welcome too. Our families need to feed their children, they need to feed themselves. Gift cards to other stores where they can get clothes. They do come from parts of the world that have a different climate than ours. We have had clients that we've picked up from the airport with flip-flops in the middle of the winter, and we do have to provide that seasonal appropriate clothing.
And in Ohio, that can change every day.
Well, we can have 3 seasons in one day, no problem in Ohio. And obviously, yes, monetary donations. Even though we do work with budgets from the government, a lot of things are not allowable expenditures. Like, for an example, when we apply for an application for housing, that fee that we use for the credit card is not an allowable expenditure. So then we have to come up with other ways to pay those things. So really anything is welcome. And just so it happens that our office is not very far away from here. We're in the backyard of
you're not in Reynoldsburg, but you're close.
Yes. I mean, the backyards are kind of like, you know, back to back. We are in the corner of McNaughton and Baskerville, in the backyard of Prince of Peace Lutheran Church on McNaughton. This is where our office has been from the beginning of resettlement. There's 15 of us now, and I have to say how proud I am of our team. That every single one of them makes sure that all of our new arrivals, all of our refugees come and they feel welcome. And our team goes to bed every night and we put our heads on the pillow knowing that we've touched someone's life, we've helped someone.
No, I appreciate it. I know all of the people that you've helped appreciate it, and thank you very much. I know that you have a busy day,
I do.
And so you have a lot of things. So I do appreciate you taking some time out here. There's, obviously it's a Facebook page, and so they can get in contact with the organization there, or you can reach out to us, and then we'll connect you as well. So thank you very much.
And if I may just plug
please.
something in, we touched a little bit on some myths versus facts. I am leaving this with you, and I will encourage people to go on Global Refuge. This is our national agency that is funding us. There are lots of good resources about myths versus facts. So you're welcome to go on that website and look at those. But I will leave this here for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for
much.
coming in. We will see you. I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm still around.
Thank
you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're all set to go. All sorts of things going on still in Reynoldsburg. We have our next Reynoldsburg City School Board meeting is next Tuesday. I believe, I'll have to double check, but I think it's at the Livingston campus, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure they'll be discussing what steps that they will be taking now that the levy is not passed. There are a couple of open office hour meetings. There's actually one today. So once the show is over, not now, but once the show is over, head over to the Graham Road Welcome Center. Vice President Jenny Quesenberry and Board Member Mandy Young will be there from 1 to 2. But again, you can't leave until after the show's over. Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., Board Member McKay will be at the Livingston campus cafeteria from 6 to 7. So there's all sorts of things there. Did want to throw in, I didn't get a chance to get to it last week, kind of a summary of Senate Bill 168. I'll kind of give you kind of a quick view. There are a few things in there. It's, for the most part, it's a relatively benign bill. The permits, like give you an example, permit school districts to develop and use their own framework for teacher evaluation. In all honesty, that is not an unusual thing. Most of the districts that we know usually follow the Ohio Department of Education guidelines, so this is just providing a little bit of opportunity there. There are some things where it will establish people who have bachelor's degrees to obtain either an educator license or a superintendent or administrator license if they go through a different pathway. Clarifies that school boards do not have to require separate individual public hearings on proposed school calendar, but the calendar can be part of the regular one. So it's kind of clarification of things. They did change some language from things from a sexual education point of view, changing from venereal disease to sexually transmitted infection. So yay, I guess, and things of that nature. But for the most part, there were not a lot of things in there that were too unusual, some cleanup things. That being said, we'll talk more about a couple of those items in a little bit. Just a reminder, the Reynoldsburg Police Department is going to be doing their Shop with the Cop program, so if you'd like to drop off a gift card, you can do so until November 25th. And you can just do it at City Hall or RPD. Probably, if you bring it to us, we'll just walk it over there. If you just rather go ahead and give some toys to the fire department for Toys for Tots, you can do that at either of the fire stations, either on Main Street or Livingston. They'll accept them till December 1st. We do have a couple of road updates. Obviously, the construction on the bridge is ongoing. They have now taken the entire top of the bridge off, and they're reinforcing what they call the wing walls, or the walls that support the bridge. So they're working on that one. For the most part, traffic is getting used to the idea of north and south traffic again. Most everybody, for whatever reason, I was there on Monday for the Veterans Day ceremony at the VFW, and there were a large number of cars that ignored the signs that said road closed, and they got all the way up until the really, really big signs right before the bridge, and then they thought, oh, they weren't joking. Not sure why they wanted to wait that long, but they did, so they either turned around in the VFW or they turned around in Coronado Woods. And then went about their merry way. We did have a conversation briefly last night. Haft Road is going to get realigned. And while for most everybody it's not going to be a huge thing, but there's always something where we can look out our window, or when I'm walking up and down Main Street, there's almost always somebody who either misjudges what light they're supposed to stop at and where, and all of that stuff in that intersection, just because it's such an odd little placement. So we're going to get that one straightened out. As far as streets, we have gotten our speed indicator street signs in, so they're going to be installed in the not too distant future, and so next week I'll kind of tell you where those are going to be. But these were based on the number of complaints that we get from residents, as well as, I guess you could say, the most frequently observed areas for RPD. Now, we know that not everybody's going to not speed because these signs are here. However, it will provide us data, specifically what the speeds actually are on a regular basis, and it will also allow us to start targeting specific times of day if there's enforcement. Like Slate Ridge, according to the data that we've seen, Slate Ridge Boulevard is actually the busier time where the most speeding occurs is actually between about 11:30 and 1:30. My guess is people are going to lunch and then coming back from lunch, and so therefore they're speeding a little bit in that particular neighborhood. Could be speeding at all times, but again, that's just something. And as you know, the LinkUs bus rapid transit system did pass, so the city of Reynoldsburg is going to go on a field trip on December 2nd. We're going to take some staff members here to go out to Indianapolis. We're going to go on a nice little bus that we have here from the Senior Center. I'm sure we will sing songs and play games, and it's going to be a lot of fun all the way across, but we can want to see exactly what Indianapolis has done with their program, as it is relatively successful. I was able to go on a tour of this a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's going to be beneficial as we move into whatever the engineering stages are. As of right now, nothing's been decided about what is or is not happening to Main Street beyond the fact that we know where the stops are going to be, and we know that everything from Davidson all the way out east is going to remain exactly as it is, what they call rate of traffic. The question is going to be what happens from, let's say, Delaney's to Haft. That's the part that's we're still debating right now. But I will keep you updated, and I'm sure we will have some town halls as we get a little bit closer on some things. So, legislative update. So I did talk about the Senate Bill 168. Right now, today, or actually yesterday, started the time called lame duck. Lame duck is not good, typically. Lame duck is basically a legislative session that happens after an election, so the current General Assembly can decide to do whatever it is that they want to do at this time with the people who are currently in office, in case maybe some of them aren't around come January 1st when the new General Assembly is going to be in. So there's a couple of things that are going to come to us. One that we know will most likely come to us is something called a pension plan for the police officers. Right now, the city typically municipalities cover police pension funds at about 19.5%. They want that to be equal to the level that the fire department gets, which is around 24%. So we know that there's going to be an increase there. The problem with it is we don't know if this is going to be something that is overnight. Is it going to be gradually phased in? Is it even going to be voted on? My guess is it's going to happen. It'll hopefully be phased in, but it can be an issue for cities, not because we have to pay additional money for the police, but for everything that we spend in this one, depending on what municipalities' budgets are, now all of a sudden we have additional expenses that may prohibit us from hiring other officers at some point in time throughout the year until the system kind of equalizes, especially as if the state, which it will most likely do, will not provide any additional funding to cities for this added cost. So that's an issue. What we know is not coming this time around, and I just found out today that they're going to be talking about the bathroom bill in the Senate today. And they're going to talk about who can and cannot use a bathroom instead of actually talking about something that concerns everybody, which is property tax relief. One of the biggest things that we saw in the last election when it came to comments on why people were not wanting to support the levy is because people are either retired or on a fixed income. Well, there's bills that are sitting in the Senate and the House that could be passed that could provide immediate property tax freezes or relief in some nature, but they're not going to talk about them this time because their priority, again, is on other things, specifically this bathroom bill that they're going to be debating today. The other thing that will not be on there, apparently as of yesterday, there was a lot of testimony for religious release time. You may or may not be aware, there's an organization called LifeWise that is going to a number of school districts that would allow, the districts are going to be asked to allow students religious exempt time to leave the school grounds to go to another location and get, depending on whose side you're on this one, either religious instruction or character building instruction all the way across. Right now, districts are under the obligation of that they may allow for this to happen, but they don't have to. But they may change one word from may to shall, and then that would mean that they are then required to do so. Students would be asked to leave or volunteer to leave during non-core academic or essential classes, which means that students would have the opportunity to leave their campus area during lunchtime, art, music, phys ed, things of that nature, taking away from the school day. It would not come at a cost to the district, but at the same time, you're talking about transportation of students, and so there's a lot of issues with that have to be worked through. Westerville City decided that that's not the direction that they wanted to go. I know Reynoldsburg is not allowing it at the time, but those are important things that are going to be out there. So if you have any questions about that, feel free and ask, because these are the issues that are out there. State representatives and state senators could solve your property tax problem now, but they don't want to. Next one that's up, Reynoldsburg Visitors Bureau has come out with their amazing magazine, where you've got all the things. And this one, if you can't tell, is not about little alien creatures that look like birthday cakes, but this is all about food. So this is actually a nice magazine that talks about all the things that are going on in the Reynoldsburg area about food. Anything from Nepali food to Sugar Rush over off Broad Street with all of these wonderful, delicious treats all the way across. So you should have gotten this in the mail. If you haven't, we do have some extra copies down here. But thank you to the Visitors Bureau and everybody involved for another magazine kind of highlighting some cool things with Reynoldsburg. So I appreciate that. If you decided to watch the council meeting last night, it was an exciting one as always. But one thing that we did talk about is, if you've noticed, on Main Street and Taylor Road, you may have seen some trees that either look like they're dead or they are dying. So the city is actually going to be replacing all of those trees that are dead or dying on Main Street and Taylor Road Southwest. There'll be some legislation going to council next week, and those funds will be provided by the America Recovers Act. So this is actually the time we're going to get all that stuff taken care of to kind of bring back those trees. On Taylor Road Southwest, a lot of them are if you remember the ash borer that was kind of killing ash trees, we tried to save as many of them as we could, but some of them are just not as healthy as they could be. So we're going to be going in and actually replanting other non-invasive trees that are actually going to be a little bit more hardy and specific to that area. Same thing on Main Street. So that's what we're doing, because again, we do appreciate the landscape. I really enjoy driving down Taylor Road Southwest. It's kind of a nice thing where you have all the trees kind of lining it, so this will help add to it. We have some other popular things coming up with our Parks and program. We've got the Gobble Games on Monday the 25th at the Reynoldsburg Community Church. One adult and one child between the age of 7 and 14 are going to compete in the Gobble Games, doing all sorts of crazy turkey leg related things. So hopefully you can join us out for that. Or you can wait if that's not your thing and you want to do some gingerbread house decorations. You can do that on Wednesday, December 18th from 6:30 to 7:30 at the Senior Center. And the best part about decorating a gingerbread house is, of course, eating the gingerbread house after you are done. So hopefully you can take care of that. Any questions so far?
No.
All right, development. Big special announcement. And this is just between you and I, okay? So you don't have to tell everybody, but just between us. Tonight, in the evening, so I'm going to say it's sometime after 6 o'clock or so, head out to Brewster's for family and friends, because we're all friends here. Head out to Brewster's and get some ice cream tonight.
Tomorrow.
Is it? Well, I thought that was, oh yeah, that's right, tomorrow night. That's Thursday. I keep thinking it's Thursday. So head out there tomorrow night, sometime in the evening, and go ahead and get some of Brewster's ice cream, because they will be opening for everybody on Friday at 11 o'clock and to 9. So that will be on Friday. So there's a lot of things going on, but again, Thursday night, just because we're between us and it's just friends, go out there tomorrow night and try some of that Brewster's ice cream. So it'll be pretty fun. A couple of other things that I saw online that, hey, we're getting a Jimmy John's. Yeah, we talk. If you've been watching the show for a while, you've known that. But I do have a couple of other things to talk about. The first one is we know we're getting a Hallmark store, and this is in the 256 shopping area. A couple of doors in between Famous Footwear and the video game shop. It's in that general vicinity, so a new Hallmark will be in there. They're working on the interior. Hopefully that will be open after the first of the year. We know that there's going to be a grand opening of the new hotel that's being built on 256. They're wrapping it up. We're just waiting for a date. But we also know there's going to be another hotel put there because the demand apparently is so high for the area that they want to go ahead and build another one. That will be a Marriott hotel. So you'll have your 4 different hotels all right there. And you never know what's going to happen with that. And that one, again, will be a Marriott. So join that one. We're still not sure what's going to go into the Fridays, but I'm pretty sure based on a couple of things that I've seen that other restaurants that have come in there are kind of like a Logan Steakhouse or something along those lines. So we'll have to wait and see. But as soon as we know, I will share that, of course, with you. And then others who don't watch the show won't know for at least, 3 months or so. And then they'll find out that it's coming. So I've got that one. 2 of the units from the former Ohio Select have been rented. And so they're doing some renovations in the inside. So there'll be some new retail stores in there coming up very soon. I don't know exactly what they are. I think one of them is a beauty supply store, which obviously I need. And then I'm not sure what the other one is, but I'll definitely follow up with you on that one. Other cool things happening this weekend is Saturday to help with those that are in need. Helping Hands Food Drive is holding their big food drive. Basically, it's 7453 East Main Street, not too far from City Hall. We'll get some signage out there, but that will be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's really easy. You pull in, pop open your trunk or open your back door. They'll take everything out, and then you're all good to go to help that off. But again, that's drop-off only, so go ahead and take care of that. And then anything else? Any questions? All right. As always, feel free and shoot any messages over. Obviously, I'm on social media, so I've answered some other questions all the way around about Wagner Road and some of the other things. But feel free and shout out for those. For everybody else, our next show is next week. Believe it or not, we're getting close to the time where we only have just a few shows left. So next week will be our last show until after December. Next week, we have a representative from the Reynoldsburg Community Association going to be talking about Christmas on the town. Probably also talk a little bit about our tree lighting ceremony and things like that as we get ready for our big push in December, which has got a lot of different people coming on. And, of course, our last guest of the year, as always, is Santa Claus. So we've got that one going. So everybody else, stay safe, stay respectful, and as always, please put your shopping carts away. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time. Hi, we're still on.
Yeah.
I got nothing.